Hi, and welcome back to another video. Today I want to give an update on my notebook system and discuss what has and hasn't been working. The core part of my system is my planner and my daily journal. For my daily journal this year, I am using a pocket leuchttrum with 5mm square grid to journal in every day. For a reminder, I use a Staedtler pigment liner in 07 to write the header, and then a Pentel roller gel ink in 0.3 to write with. I also do write 2 lines per square grid. Since this is a non-dated notebook, I like how I can choose how many pages I want to fill up every day, since this has helped with my consistency and with filling it out. I do journal after the day is over, so if it was April 1st, I would be journaling for March 31st. And while I can occasionally get behind, it's never over a few days. Moving to my Hobonichi weeks, this has been working out really well as a planner. I first began using a Hobonichi weeks back during fall of last year while finishing my undergrad, and it really helped my productivity, so I don't see myself changing anytime soon. Inside here I have a variety of post-it notes just so that they are at easy access. If you are unfamiliar with the layout of a Hobonichi weeks, it has a monthly section, which I love, using all the extra space around the calendar for goal lists and habit trackers, and then within the actual calendar, I use rainy dot plans icon stickers to mark the events so that they're easily recognizable from a distance. Then for the weekly section, it's a horizontal weekly that I divide with a line to write down day-specific tasks, day-specific events, and then on this side I write habit tracker, inbox, and then at the moment I've been using the extra space to track my entertainment that I've been watching. Overall, I really love this layout since it allows me to just see the whole entire week in one single view. Then moving to the notes pages, there are 71 notes pages since this is the standard version. These notes pages have been divided by 4, one for each quarter, since this space is being used to help achieve my yearly goals. Since quarter 1 has sensitive information, here is how I set up quarter 2. I started with a quarterly dashboard where I will write down my goals, how I will achieve the goals, as well as trackers if I need it. Then there is a dashboard for each month where I will write down the goals, tasks, and then there's space for extra notes. Here is an example of a list for that quarter. Then I have an entertainment tracker, a spending tracker, and then I will finish off the month with a quarter wrap-up, but since I still may obviously need more notes pages for the rest of the quarter, I will wait to actually write down the header until we're near the end of that quarter. One change I did make to this notebook is I did remove a few of the reference pages in the back and added 16 pages from a old Hobonichi weeks. I am using these pages for any book-related notes like chapter trackers, wish lists, and books I want to read. I really like how this is placed right after my 100 list, which I've been using to track the books that I read. I'm happy with this modification, and I did a good job of lining up the pages so you can't even see when it's closed. This is my Hobonichi cousin in a Hobonichi anemone cover, which I have been really loving. I'm still using my Hobonichi cousin as a daily log, in theory. I say this because I have not done the best job of actually filling it out, but I am currently working on making more of an effort to consistently fill it out and to continue backlogging. Since all the information I am writing down within the Hobonichi cousin is all documented somewhere else, I am not that worried about actually losing or forgetting the information. I just had other things of higher priority to do during quarter 1, and since this was a low priority notebook in my system, I chose to put that time somewhere else. I am hoping by the end of quarter 2, this will actually be fully filled out, so check back in a few months when I film quarter 2 update to see if this was actually true. Additionally, if you watch my 2023 notebook lineup video, you will note that I did end up removing the daily pages from my Hobonichi cousin. However, I have kept all of the pages and I have been using them as scratch paper, which has been working out really well since I have gone through all of January to March. The reason why I removed the pages are because it no longer fit into my system, and rather than holding on to random notes that were important that I would end up using the daily pages for, I thought just to separate the two. While my Hobonichi cousin did not change, I did end up switching out both of my day frees for 2 new notebooks. So I made some changes. I will say though that these 2 changes were definitely made with the help of work stress. I feel like when I am stressed, it's when I tend to evaluate my system the best because of all the flaws of a certain notebook just stick out even more, and I'm more likely to not have the energy and patience to just deal with the flaw and end up just abandoning it. The part of the reason for these 2 switches also happened within the last few weeks, so they are still a work in progress. For my reading log, I decided to go with a standard size insert from Good Impressions with 60 pages, 62 GSM white Tomeo river paper with 4mm square grid and square corners. This insert was actually intended for something else, but since the shop is located in Spain, I did not want to wait 3 weeks for another order to arrive. When I began thinking about what notebook could help fix my issue, I began thinking farther out into the future. One thing that pulled me to the Hobonichi Day Free was that I could have a stack of these at the end of the year on a shelf, so I thought, why not do this with a Traveler Notebook insert? Especially since I already owned a craft binder from Traveler's Notebook that is meant to hold these inserts, I thought I could over the years fill up reading-related inserts to fill up a binder that would sit neatly on a shelf. I also note that the amount that I read every year stays relatively the same, so I know that this insert will be able to contain my reading for an entire year, plus the blank insert allows me to draw in my own calendars in smaller scales as well as dictate the entire layout of the notebook. While there wasn't anything inherently wrong with my reading log, I wasn't happy with it either. One of my main concerns were that the monthlies were too big. This is a bit ironic considering I wanted the notebook in the first place to have a pre-printed calendar to track my books, but in reality I am not reading more than 1 book a day, so there's only really 1 entry per square, and since sometimes it takes me longer or I take breaks during reading, my calendar was left pretty sparse. Secondly, this notebook is a massive. It was an A5 notebook with 171 notes pages, and I know I will not fill it up since I'm already using only 1 page for every 2 entries. And due to this, I wanted to pick a smaller notebook with a smaller amount of pages that I could actually fill up at the end of the year. For the actual layout, it's really simple. I just have a books read list, a fanfiction read list. I will have these little calendars where I can then put stats and a TBR if I want on the side. And then for the reading log, it's pretty similar. I am still doing 2 per page where I have things like the title, the author, the date I read it, pages, a small synopsis, and then I will have my star rating and my thoughts. And this will be the perfect amount to actually fill up the entire thing at the end of the year. For my social media notebook, I realized that I was just not opening it throughout the month, and this was problematic since this was supposed to be a tool for me to be more consistent with social media, since it's a goal of mine this year to be more active on my Instagram and to grow my YouTube channel. Some of the issues with the notebook that made me not touch it was the monthly calendar. While I originally wanted a monthly calendar to track when I posted, I began tracking this with the Hobonichi weeks, which works a lot better since I'm using the planner daily. Secondly, there's quite a bit of notes pages, even in an A6 size, and I feel like I should be using them. However, I don't want the pressure to feel like I should fill up pages just to fill them up, and it honestly would have just been a waste of time. I originally thought the amount of pages would be good to make extensive notes about YouTube videos, but in reality, I've been writing short notes on these little Daiso post-its and placing them within the weeks, which has been working really well since I can also move it around to whatever week I want to film it as a video reminder. I decided to go with a Hobonichi memo pad since this was something I already had within my stash, and with how thin it is, I can easily sit this in the back of my Hobonichi weeks without it adding too much bulk. This was perfect since the other half of my social media planning lives in my planner, so now the memo pad can be as easy access for those extra notes, which include some goals, which I still have to write, social media milestones, iMovie and YouTube Studio notes, Instagram bio and profile changes, and then ideas for YouTube videos, Instagram story, reels, and feed. And then I have more notes pages for whatever else I may need. Overall, I am very happy with my notebook system and the changes I've made to make it work and make it something I love to use even more. I plan to make a quarter two updates, so stay tuned until then to see if the changes worked and if new changes have been made. Otherwise, if you want more frequent updates, there is always my Instagram, which I will have linked below, or my A Weekend in my Notebook videos, which I plan to make monthly now, so my viewers can be able to see how my notebooks are being used more real time, and I really enjoy creating this content.